If you are watching this, it is not by chance. It is a divine appointment, a sacred synchronicity orchestrated by the universe itself. For weeks, months, perhaps even years, a part of your soul, a deep and quiet part of your higher self, has been sending out a signal, a persistent and undeniable vibration of profound unease. You have felt it, haven't you? It is not a loud, clamoring alarm, but a subtle, persistent hum beneath the surface of your daily life. It is that nagging feeling, like a stone in your shoe, that you can never quite shake out, that something is fundamentally, existentially amiss in the very fabric of our modern existence. You look around and see a world overflowing with technological marvels, a civilization that has conquered distance and time. You might be surrounded by more people, more digital connections, more friends than any generation in human history, and yet a strange, isolating emptiness echoes in the chambers of your heart. It is a solitude that stings all the more because it exists in the midst of a crowd. You are not alone in this feeling. Let me say that again, so it may penetrate the layers of doubt you have built around your heart. You are not alone. This is not a personal failure, nor is it a sign that you are broken or flawed. It is a shared frequency, a collective spiritual symptom of the very age we live in. Thousands, millions of souls across this planet are vibrating at this same frequency of silent desperation, yearning for something real, something solid, something true. If this message resonates with the core of your being, know that you have been guided here. You have found a sanctuary of understanding. To affirm your connection to this truth, and to send a signal of light to others who feel the same, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share in the comments below the words "I am not alone," or simply the number 7. You are about to understand the divine source of this emptiness, and more importantly, you will begin to see the illuminated path that leads out of it. This is not just a video, this is your awakening. Have you ever truly paused, in the dead of night or in a fleeting moment of quiet, to feel that subtle, yet gnawing sensation that despite all the promises of progress, despite the dazzling, infinite scroll of possibilities on your screen, something vital is deeply, fundamentally wrong with the world we have built? It's a feeling that often defies words, a silent, anxious restlessness that hums beneath the surface of your busiest days and your loudest, most crowded nights. It's the central tragic paradox of our time. We are drowning in an endless deluge of information, yet we find ourselves starved for genuine wisdom. We are hyper-connected through a shimmering, intricate web of digital threads, a global network of instant communication, yet we have never felt so profoundly, so achingly alone. It feels as if, with all our stunning technological achievements, with all our celebrated freedoms of choice and our limitless options, we have somehow, tragically, lost the very essence of what it means to be human. You are not imagining this. This feeling is not a delusion. The truth, the undeniable truth, that your soul recognizes, is that this feeling is not a personal failing. It is not a sign of your individual weakness, or a glitch in your own spirit. It is a symptom of a much larger, collective condition, a pervasive and powerful force that silently and insidiously shapes our lives, our relationships, our work and our very souls without us even realizing it. The great sociologist, and in many ways the spiritual diagnostician of our era, Zygmunt Bauman, gave this pervasive condition a name. He looked upon the chaotic, ever-shifting landscape of our modern world and called it liquid mod. And at the very heart of this diagnosis lies a truth so simple, yet so devastatingly profound, a truth that unlocks the very mystery of our collective unease. Uncertainty is the only certainty, and knowing how to live with insecurity is the only security. To truly grasp the magnitude of our current predicament, you must first think about the world as it once was, a world Bauman called solid modernity. Imagine for a moment a reality built on foundations of rock, not shifting sand. In this world, communities were not abstract networks, but geographical certainties, towns and neighborhoods, where roots ran deep and belonging was woven into the very fabric of place. Families were stable, enduring structures, anchors in the storm of life, and careers were often lifelong commitments, well-trodden paths, laid out from one generation to the next. Values were like ancient, majestic cathedrals, built of stone and faith, to last for centuries, providing a sense of shelter, moral continuity, and a shared sense of belonging. There was a script, a map, a collective understanding of the journey of life. Life itself had a certain weight, a tangible solidity you could lean on, a predictable rhythm you could trust. But that world has melted. It has dissolved before our very eyes. Today we live in a liquid society. Everything that was once solid, everything that once provided a sense of permanence and security, has dissolved into a constant, churning, disorienting state of flux. We are adrift in an endless, formless ocean of uncertainty, with no fixed stars to guide us. Our communities are no longer fixed places, but temporary, fleeting networks of convenience, as easily formed as they are abandoned with a click. Our careers are no longer lifelong paths, but a dizzying series of temporary projects, forcing us to constantly reinvent ourselves, to shed our skins again and again, just to stay afloat on the relentless tide. Our relationships, our friendships, even our most cherished and deepest loves, have become fragile, disposable commodities, like products with an ever-shrinking shelf life, to be consumed and then discarded. Everything, absolutely everything, seems to slip through our fingers like water. We are taught to celebrate this liquidity as the ultimate form of freedom. But is it truly freedom? Or is it a new, more insidious, more subtle form of imprisonment? A cage without bars that leaves us perpetually exhausted and spiritually empty. This pervasive liquidity doesn't just affect the external world around us. It seeps into the very core of our being, dissolving the foundations of our own identity. In this liquid world, you are no longer just a person. You are a product. You are, in essence, a personal brand, in a constant state of marketing. Have you noticed this? The incessant, unspoken pressure to sell yourself, to curate and market your existence on digital platforms like Instagram and LinkedIn. Every photo you post, every update you share, every interaction you have becomes a carefully calibrated performance designed to prove your worth, to attract validation, to scream to the world that you are interesting, that you are successful, that you are happy, that you are living a life worth observing. The fundamental question of human existence has shifted. It is no longer who am I, but has been replaced by the far more anxious question, how do I appear to others? Your identity is no longer built from the inside out, anchored in timeless values and deep-seated, authentic belief. Instead, it is constructed precariously from the outside in, defined by what you consume, the brands you wear, the exotic trips you take, the filtered experiences you can showcase to a digital audience. It is an incredibly fragile identity, a shimmering image that needs constant updates, constant maintenance, and a constant IV drip of external approval to feel real. The moment you stop performing, the moment the screens go dark, and the validation from the digital crowd ceases, that uncomfortable, terrifying feeling of emptiness returns with a vengeance. Who are we when no one is watching? Who are we when the likes and comments stop coming? In the profound silence that follows, the liquid self, unmoored from its external anchors, threatens to evaporate completely, leaving behind only a hollow echo. And this devastating, corrosive liquidity has of course flooded our most intimate spaces, our relationship. The very concept of human connection has been transformed, and in many ways degraded. In the solid past, relationships were often understood to be like houses, structures built painstakingly, brick by brick, with patience, shared effort, and a profound willingness to weather the inevitable storms of life together. They were designed to last, to provide a true sanctuary of shelter and security in a challenging world. Today, in our liquid society, relationships have become more like tents, pitched quickly and easily, for temporary convenience, offering a fleeting sense of shelter, but just as easily dismantled and packed away at the first sign of trouble or discomfort. We are relentlessly conditioned by the culture around us to see commitment not as a foundation for genuine growth and deep love, but as a trap, a cage, a limitation on our endless, tantalizing possibility. Why invest deeply in one person? The liquid logic whispers, when a better, more exciting, less complicated match might be just a single, effortless swipe away. Why bother building a true home with someone when you've been expertly trained to be an emotional nomad, always with your bags packed, always ready to move on to the next fleeting experience? This insidious logic creates a devastating dynamic of mutual suspicion and emotional hedging, where no one wants to be the first to truly commit, the first to be fully vulnerable, the first to truly invest their heart. We keep one foot in and one foot out, constantly evaluating our options, constantly hedging our emotional bets, treating our partners like stocks in a portfolio. The inevitable result is a world filled with countless superficial ties and a profound, deafening loneliness that haunts our quietest moments. We may have hundreds, even thousands of digital contacts, but we have so few true ride-or-die friends. We may have an endless series of casual encounters and fleeting connections, but so few genuinely meaningful, soul-nourishing relationships. This is the great, tragic paradox of liquid love. We are terrified of being alone, yet we are equally, if not more, terrified of the deep, lasting connection that would ultimately cure our solitude. We are surrounded by people, but we are in essence, fundamentally alone. So, what is the divine answer to this pervasive existential anguish? How do we, as sovereign spiritual beings, escape the suffocating, relentless cycle of liquid modernity? The hard truth is that the system itself doesn't want you to escape. In fact, it needs you to remain trapped. It needs you to be constantly distracted, constantly consuming, constantly scrolling, without ever pausing to question what truly matters, what your soul is genuinely crying out for. This liquid system thrives on your dissatisfaction, on your perpetual, restless search for the next new thing, the next product, the next partner, the next experience, that promises to finally fill the void, but never, ever does. The solution, therefore, is not to be found within the system. It must be an act of profound spiritual resistance, a conscious rebellion against the tide. This rebellion begins with the simple yet monumentally powerful act of recognition. You must awaken to the divine truth of your situation. You must understand, deep in your bones, that this emptiness you feel is not your fault. It is a direct product of the liquid, transient world you inhabit. And once you can truly see the architecture of the prison, you can begin to find the key to your own liberation. The first step on this sacred path is to relearn the profound value of permanence. In a world where everything and everyone is designed to be disposable, the simple, courageous act of committing to something, be it a deep relationship, a long-term project, a local community, or a guiding life philosophy, becomes a revolutionary act. It is an act of building something solid and real in an ocean of illusionary chaos. You must understand that stability is not a burden. It is the very foundation upon which you can build a life of genuine, lasting meaning. Another crucial and life-altering step is to consciously and deliberately disconnect from the insidious culture of consumption as identity. This does not mean you must reject the world or live as a recluse in a cave. It means you must stop the endless, exhausting cycle of defining who you are based on what you own, the image you meticulously project online, or the fleeting external validation you receive from others. It means you must embark on the sacred quest to find a meaning that goes far beyond the disposable trends, the superficial approval of the digital crowd, and the incessant, frantic need to reinvent yourself, simply to remain relevant in a system designed for obsolescence. This requires the courage to cultivate a deep internal purpose, something that does not depend on the wild fluctuations of the market, the ever-changing algorithms of social media, or the fickle whims of public opinion. It means you must begin the holy work of building your house, your spiritual home, on the unshakable rock of your own core values, your own personal integrity, and your own inner truth, rather than on the constantly shifting, treacherous sands of the external world. This is the divine path to true spiritual sovereignty, a state where your intrinsic worth is inherent and unshakable, utterly independent of the world's passing judgments and fleeting accolades. It is about becoming the divine creator of your own identity, not just a passive consumer of the pre-packaged soulless identities offered to you by the marketplace. Perhaps the hardest, yet most profoundly necessary change of all, is to relearn the sacred art of being alone without ever feeling lonely. Our liquid society has expertly trained us to fear silence, to fear stillness, to fear those precious unfilled moments
when we are left with nothing but our own thoughts and the beating of our own heart. We are conditioned to seek constant, relentless distraction, to fill every waking moment with noise, information and external stimuli, because in the holy quiet we might have to finally face the deep emptiness we carry within. But you must understand this divine truth. It is only in that quiet, only in that sacred stillness, that true self-knowledge, genuine wisdom, and the capacity for deep, authentic connection can finally emerge. You must learn to endure, and eventually to cherish, introspection. You must have the courage to sit with the initial discomfort of being just with yourself, without a screen to mediate your experience. It is in these precious moments of deep solitude that you can finally begin to hear the quiet, persistent whisper of your own soul, to distinguish its authentic voice from the deafening clamor of the world, and to understand what it truly deeply yearns for. Depth, self-knowledge, and a true connection with others can only emerge when we learn to honor and endure the sacred, fertile space of our own inner world. This is not about a retreat into bitter isolation. It is about building the most important, most enduring relationship you will ever have, the relationship with your own higher self. In the end, resisting the pull of liquid modernity does not mean completely rejecting the world we live in. That would be another form of escape. Instead, it means finding a new, conscious, and powerful way to navigate through it without losing ourselves in the process. It means deliberately choosing to build sacred islands of solidity and meaning in an endless ocean of uncertainty. It means finding and courageously nurturing relationships that are based on deep, unwavering commitment, not on fleeting, temporary convenience. It means pursuing long-term projects and life-affirming passions that provide a sense of enduring soul-level purpose, not just a quick hit of fleeting excitement. It means cultivating an inner life so rich, so vibrant, and so real that you are no longer dependent on the chaotic, ever-changing outside world for your sense of worth, your peace, or your happiness. The great, tragic paradox of our liquid society is that by supposedly freeing us from the old rigid structures of the past, it has left us utterly adrift, anchorless and anxious in a sea of constant change. It promised us that we could be anything, but in doing so it gave us so much overwhelming instability that now, we no longer know who we are. It told us we could have any relationship we wanted, but it left us terrified to truly commit to any of them. It offered us an infinite, dazzling ocean of possibilities, but it completely took the solid ground from beneath our feet. And that is precisely why so many of us, so many sensitive souls, feel this silent, gnawing restlessness, this persistent, unshakable sense that something essential is missing from our lives, because it truly is. Now that you understand the hidden architecture of this liquid prison, now that you can see the invisible currents that have been pulling you, you stand at a sacred crossroads. You have a divine choice. You can continue to go with the flow, to be swept along by the tide, adapting to every new trend, chasing every new distraction, and desperately trying to fill the internal void with more consumption, more performance, and more superficial connection. Or you can begin the holy work of building something solid, something real, something that will endure. You can start right now to build a life with depth, a life with meaning, a life that is truly, authentically your own. Be warned, it will be a difficult path. It is a path of profound resistance against the very nature of our times. It will require immense courage, unwavering patience, and a deep sacred commitment to your own soul's journey of awakening. But you must know this: it is the only path that leads to true, unshakable security, true, soul-deep connection, and an unspeakable divine peace that the liquid, chaotic world can never offer you, and can never, ever take away. The question is no longer what to do with this newfound knowledge, but what you will choose to build with it. The power, now and always, is yours.